So you're thinking about bagging your car, but you don't know how? Well, today's your lucky day. I will be showing you guys how to install bags, specifically on this FRS right here. I wanted to do this video a lot sooner, like when I bagged my FRS, but sadly all the files got corrupted, so I couldn't make that into a video for you guys. But luckily, I got this FRS right here. This is the TRD FRS that I will be installing the bags on. The bags that I will be putting on the FRS is Airlift, along with their management, which is their 3P management, which is probably the most commonly used system on most cars that I know. The install shouldn't be too hard. It only took me 2 days on the FRS, so hopefully this is the same and goes smooth. So without further ado, let's get started into today's video. First thing we have to do, obviously, put the car on all 4 jack stands. Please don't leave it on a jack. That jack could fail and then you can die. You don't want to die. You gotta air out first. Okay, y'all, as you can see, all 4 corners on jack stands now. We're gonna go ahead and take off all 4 wheels. Okay guys, so once you get the wheels off, now you can actually get to the suspension work. There's gonna be 2 nuts and bolts holding in the strut to the knuckle. So you're gonna go ahead and use 2 19mm wrenches or ratchets, whatever you prefer, and take out the 2 bolts. Once you take out the nuts that hold in the bolts, it's going to be super useful to jack up the knuckle so that the stress holding in the bolts gets relieved, so you can just pull them right out. Just like that. Comes out real easy. Alright, we got the knuckle out of the strut. Now all we got to do left is remove this ABS and this brake line. This one's holding in by some clips. You can just take that out with a flathead. And this one is holding in what I believe to be a 10 or 12mm bolt right there. Once you remove that bolt, you can go ahead and take off the bolt that connects the end link to the strut. This is just a 17mm nut that you take off right here. Just like that, it came out. And now you're ready to go ahead and take off the nuts from up top. I'll show you guys where it is. Up here we have 3 12mm nuts right here that connects to the strut. Once you pop this off, the strut should fall right out. Just like that, the strut should come right out. Now you just repeat the same for the other side, and then we'll get to the back side. Once you have the strut removed on the other side, you're gonna have to take out this end link, and the reason why we don't take out the end link from the bottom is because when it's connected to the strut, you don't have much room right here to play with, right there. So once you take off the top bolt to the strut, you're able to push the sway bar down. So now you have all this clearance from the bottom to take out that bolt. So front suspension is all removed. Now it's time to move on to the rears. The rears is pretty simple too. It's just 3 bolts and then everything should drop. So this is what the rear strut assembly looks like. Here's the strut and this is the bolt that is connected through. But usually what happened with my FRS is even if you remove this bolt right here, you won't have enough play to pull out the strut. So you also have to take out this that connects to the hub, and you might have to even take out the end link so that there's more play. So let's see what we have to do in this case. I'm guessing we're gonna have to take all 3 to take out this strut. Just as I suspected, even if we take out this bolt to the strut, there's no play at all. So you can't remove the strut, so we gotta take out at least the knuckle right here. Okay, I got out the last bolt to the end link, and look at the amount of play we get now. Like, we can move the hub out the way, we can move the control arms. Now we just gotta pull this strut out. So to take out the strut fully, you have to go inside your trunk, take out the trunk liner right here, and then take out the two bolts that are located right here and right here, and they are 14 millimeters. Okay, we got out the last bolt. Now we just gotta find our way and finesse this strut out of here. Alright boys, I got out the stock strut. Now we just move on to the other side. Once you get that done, we can start installing the airlift bags. Quick update for you guys, I got out the driver's side rears. As you can see, nothing in. Before I can get in the airlift struts, I'm going to need some Teflon tape so that it seals properly so there's no air leaking out. And since we have to make a stop at Home Depot, we might as well buy the materials that are needed because he wants to do a hardwood trunk. And so I'm gonna go ahead and pick up some wood laminate so I can cut that out for him. And check this out. This is how you know I'm in Seattle. It's fucking pouring. Look at that. It's all depressing, it's pouring, everything's wet. This is why I hate Seattle. I need to move out of here so quick. If you guys are in LA or somewhere and need a roommate, hit me up. So I'm just playing. I got school here. Hopefully once I'm finished, maybe I'll move, but we'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead and head over to Home Depot right now and buy everything I need. Okay, I'm currently at Home Depot trying to figure out which laminate would look best for this build. I personally am not a fan of the wood color. I think black or gray looks more classy, so I think we're gonna go with that right there. It's like a light grayish color. It's right here. I think it's not too tacky. It's perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up two of these in case one isn't enough. I don't have to make another run. And so yeah, I'll see you guys back home and we'll start cutting this wood. So the worst part about daily driving an S2000 is trying to find space to put stuff. I don't know how I'm gonna fit these big ass wood laminate flooring inside the S2K. I think I might have to put the roof down and let it hang off the top on the S2000. I don't know, somehow, some way I gotta figure this out or else I have to return this thing. But yeah, if you're looking to daily an S2000 and you need space to go places, don't buy it. Well, that was easier than I thought. The wood laminate just went right into the passenger seat. It's not even over the seat, so I can just put the soft top up if I wanted to. Maybe daily driving this thing isn't too bad after all. So I'm gonna go ahead and drive home and start cutting the wood flooring. So see you guys at home. All right guys, we made it home. I already started assembling the laminate flooring, and it turns out this is after only one set of laminate. And as you can see, there's plenty of space to do a trunk. So if you are looking to do a wooden trunk or a laminate trunk flooring, you only need one box. So I'll probably return that or build a trunk setup for the FRS using that. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take the stock mat right here, trace it with the Sharpie so I know where to cut. And then I'm gonna use this jigsaw right here with a blade to cut around it. So here's my brother helping me, but I'll be setting up a tripod and I'll show you guys how I cut it. I won't go into depth because it's pretty self-explanatory. You pull the trigger and you just trace around. So let's get right into it. I'm finally done cutting out the hardwood flooring. Now I'm gonna show you guys just a quick mock-up of how it's gonna look. Here it is. As you can see, it fits pretty good. All you have to do is use the stock trunk mat and then everything should trace out pretty well. So it has one compressor, so I'm gonna tuck it back there because I like everything to look symmetrical, and since there's only one compressor, I can't really make it look symmetrical. So the best thing to do, tuck it back there. And for the management, I'm gonna leave it front and centered. I'll be using this stand right here. First I gotta paint this, but this stand will go right here, mounted to the flooring of course, and then this will bolt up like that. And then I'll run soft lines right here down into the trunk. And then it should look pretty good. It should be simple and clean, nothing too crazy. You could do this at home. This wooden flooring I got for like 20 bucks. The stand was about like 50 bucks, but you gotta weld it yourself, which isn't bad. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this for tomorrow because I have to go to Home Depot and buy some nuts and bolts. I don't have that right now, and I kind of don't want to drive. I don't know, I'm getting too lazy. But since I can't do that right now, I only have one choice left to do, and that is to mount up the air struts for the front and rears. So I'll be using this Teflon tape. Hi, Nick. I'll be using this Teflon tape right here to mount up the leader line so that it doesn't leak. I'll show you guys how I do everything starting from now. I got the rear struts right here. As you can see, the rears are a sleeved style strut. So, okay, I got the rear struts here for you guys and the rear leader lines. So the instruction manual tells you to turn this leader line about 1 3/4 turns beyond hand tight. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand tight this in first. There's no need to use thread sealant tape on this because this already has its own sealant thing, which is this red coating. So I'm gonna go ahead and twist this in hand tight, and then I'll tighten it with the wrench. Here's a 1/4 turn, 3/4, 1 1/4, and 1 3/4. Just like that, we're good to go. Now I'm gonna move on to the other strut. Okay guys, I got both struts done. Now I'm gonna go ahead and install the struts back onto the car. I got on the strut connected to the LCA and the end link. So all we have to do now is jack up the lower control arms right here so that the knuckle can go right in. Okay y'all, I got all 3 bolts tightened in and I got this strut in. Now it's time to do the same to the other side. Once we got all the struts in, we can go ahead and start running the airlines. Here are the front struts. As you can see, these are different left and right, so you have to make sure to put them on the right side because this bracket to mount the end link is different on the left and the right side. So you don't want to go through the trouble of putting it on the wrong side. As far as the leader line goes, it's just like the rears. You want to hand tighten this into the hole right here and then use a ratchet or a wrench to tighten it 1 3/4.
Recording.
It helps to have a jack so you can go ahead and jack up the hub so it can go right through the bolts.
Put all the
Front struts are in. Make sure to put back your brake line, specifically this one right here. This one just plugs right into the same way we came out. And then this one, remember, you take the bolt that you got and then you screw it in. And that bolt is right here. Before we can go ahead and install the strut on the left driver's side, what we're going to need to do is shave down all these metal studs right here with an angle grinder so that they don't poke the bags, because you do not want that. Over time, it could put a hole in your bags and your bags could just pop while you're driving, and that would be very, very bad. So I'm going to go ahead and use this angle grinder right here with the cutoff wheel and cut those off. Alright guys, I got all the studs shaved down real nice, and so we're gonna go ahead and take the struts and we can finally install them. What's going on, guys? It is now the next day. I went to the store and I bought the hardware that I needed to mount the trunk setup right here. But before we can do so, I'm gonna go ahead and paint the stand right here with just some black spray paint real quick. I'll just hit it with some 400 grit sandpaper and then spray the primer and paint all in one spray paint. I got the trunk set up how I wanted to. Now I'm going to take a Sharpie and mark all the holes I have to drill out. We got the holes drilled. Now I can finally assemble the trunk setup. So how I'm going to mount this is I'm going to use these type of bolts right here because I have the hex head, so you can use a socket on them, which makes it so much easier, and a nut to go with it, as well as some washers. You can buy all this at Harbor Freight or Home Depot. I bought it at Home Depot. This water trap is so water doesn't go into your management and just fuck shit up. So how we're gonna do that is we're gonna take the supplied converter right here. It converts this big old thread into a thread small enough to put into the water trap. So I'm gonna go ahead and put both sides of the thread, cover it in some Teflon tape so that it doesn't leak, and then we can go ahead and screw it all in. Okay guys, we got this fitting on, and as you can see there's still 2 holes left. What we're gonna do is we're gonna plug those holes up with this little plug that they gave us. They gave us 2 of these. Just put some Teflon tape over this real quick, screw it in, and you'll be good to go. Before I start the wiring, I'm gonna go ahead and put on these connectors right here onto the leader line so that we can start running our air line right here. All you're gonna do is take this and screw it onto the end of the leader line. Luckily for us FRS and BRZ owners, we have a really place to run the airline. So as you can see, my leader line is right here. All you have to do is take out that rubber gasket where the airline is going into and feed it up through the top and into the trunk like so. What I did was I drilled out a hole right here so that the fitting comes up and fits perfectly, and from there you could just take the soft line and run it to wherever. The same goes for both sides. If you take this panel out, you're gonna see the gaskets right there lining up. So let's go ahead and do that on both sides, and then we could throw the trunk in. How I'll be running the power lines and air lines through this car is I'll be running them from the trunk, feeding them in through here, the side trim. You can pop that right off, and then up through the firewall. So you can see where the pink wire is. There's a hole right there you can feed it through, right there, and it goes to the engine bay. Move your battery away and through that black grommet right there. So what I did was I cut a hole where that grommet is in order to push the wires through. So I'm gonna go ahead and run the air lines and show you guys how to deal with all this wiring right here. Alright guys, time to start wiring. What you're gonna want to do is grab the black and the red wire and start splicing it. And then you're gonna grab this inline fuse and you're gonna put it into this red inline fuse wire that they gave us. All you want to do is cut the wire so that you can use both ends, splice the wires on both ends like what I did here. And we're going to go ahead and connect the red wire coming from the wiring harness to the inline fuse using the yellow crimper. You can just use any normal crimper and just use the yellow size. Now that you got the wires crimped together, you're gonna want to grab this yellow, I don't know what this is called, but it came with the kit that Airlift gives you, and crimp it onto both the black and the red wire so that you can connect this up to your battery. Now that you have all that connected, go ahead and connect the negative end of the wires to the battery. Don't quite connect the positive end yet until we have everything wired up and we're ready to go. Next step is to grab this pink wire. This will be your ignition wire, which will turn on the Airlift when you turn on the car. You want to connect it to this wire that will connect to your fuse box, and you're going to do that with this green crimper right here. So just crimp the pink wire with the red wire that comes with the two fuse thing. I don't know what these are called, but yeah, do that. Once you got that done, you're gonna get the purple fuse that came with the kit and put it into the fuse panel right there. And using your existing fuse box, I picked the red fuse that I pulled out right there as my ignition, because when I turn on the car, that fuse also turns on. And then I'm gonna put that fuse into this fuse box right here. And then once it's all hooked up, put it right back to where I took out the fuse. Moving on to the back, first thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is strap down the relay. You can just mount this wherever you want. I'm just gonna mount this like probably right in the middle right here. Okay, y'all, I got the relay strapped in. Now all we have to do left wiring wise is hook this up to the compressor on the trunk and plug this into the management. So I think it's pretty clear that we can go ahead and just put the trunk in and set everything up. According to the manual, the second hole from the right is where you hook up the water trap into the manifold so that the manifold is able to get air. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a hose or an air line so that this water trap can run down and go into the second hole right there. Here's a better look at it. So second hole from the right, which is right here, goes down, and then this air line goes all the way back and connects up to the water trap like that. So since those air lines are already hooked up, we can go ahead and put the trunk in or put the wooden flooring in and then start connecting the other lines along with this compressor. To wire the compressor is pretty much easy. All you have to do is use these wire connectors right here and connect the red to red and black to black. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and show you guys how it looks. As you can see, we got the wiring all done, black to black, red to red. If you want to be precautious, you can go ahead and heat this up so that it shrinks, but since this is in the trunk, I'm just gonna let this be. So now that we got the compressor wired up, all we're gonna have to do now is run the air lines. I'm gonna show you which part of the manifold goes to what airline. This is pretty much self-explanatory. So the first side on the left is for front left, front right, rear left, and rear right. So just go ahead and run the air lines to each strut. Rear air lines are on, fronts are also on. Now I'm gonna go ahead and finally connect this red, let me show you guys, this red wire to the battery, and then we're good to go. We can go ahead and put back on the wheels, put the car on the floor, and start doing the calibration. Sorry about this, but when I went back and watched this video, I realized that there's so much wind noise you can barely hear what I'm saying. So this is where I'm explaining that everything is already hooked up and ready to go, and I'm going to show you guys how to calibrate it. All you have to do to calibrate is press the airlift button and this up button together. Let me do it for you guys. Sun glare is just terrible. If you press those two together, that screen will come up. You just have to go down to calibration and press select and just let the car do its thing. But yeah, that is how you install bags on an FRS. It's pretty easy. I've done this multiple times before. But if you don't feel comfortable installing bags yourself and you're in the Seattle area, just make sure to hit me up on my Instagram at thatmanderek. I can do it for you. It takes me like a few days. But let me go ahead and show you guys how it looks like aired out. You want to air it out for them? Huh?
Yeah, hey, I got it, bro.
All right, bro. Let's see if he actually knows how to. Go ahead. What, you don't remember the lesson?
Hit the bottom button, bro.
Okay, here. So you press this button, then press it again and hold it.
Alright.
Okay, wait, not yet. Okay, go ahead. Woo! Yeah, in my opinion, this isn't low enough for me. As you can see, there's a bunch of space. But I asked the guy if he wanted me to change the strut height. He said he didn't because he doesn't know much about the stance life and he doesn't have experience driving low cars. So he wants me to just leave it at the stock height, so that's what we did for him. But he can always go ahead and adjust it later on. And yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. We're almost at 600 subscribers and I'm pretty sure we're at like 555 right now. It's amazing, mind-blowing. Thank you so much everyone that's been following me and subscribing to the channel and watching the videos. Well, that's it for today's video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.